Welcome to the I Dream of Speaking podcast. I am your host, Ramona J. Smith, 2018 World Champion of Public Speaking, and I am here to help you find your voice so that you can shine brighter, dream bigger, and speak louder. The I Dream of Speaking podcast is all about mastering the art of public speaking, sharing our dreams and aspirations as speakers, and living confidently so that we feel good both on and off the stage. Today's episode is all about how to make those speaking dreams a reality. Dreamers and speakers. Oh, so excited about this episode because I am both a dreamer and a speaker. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the next episode. Also, give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment with your tips, suggestions, and love. I love the love. Make sure you share this. If you have someone in your circle who wants to be a better speaker, share this podcast with him or her, them or they. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Ramona J. Smith 1, on Facebook and LinkedIn, Ramona J. Smith. Join our Speakers United Facebook group and check out my website, ramonajsmith.com. Also, you can send me an email if you want to connect. I speak at ramonajsmith.com. Thank you for joining me for another episode of I Dream of Speaking. I have not always wanted to be a world champion speaker. That was never my dream as a child. As a kid, living and coming from where I came from in the city of Cleveland, public speaking wasn't really a thing. I kind of left that to the politicians or the preachers, the people who are in the world of religion, preachers, pastors, things like that. I never had dreams of public speaking when I was younger. When I was younger, I just wanted to be famous. Mom, leave me alone. I want to be famous. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be a movie star. I wanted to be a famous singer. I wanted to be in a girl group like Destiny's Child or TLC. I wanted to be in the spotlight, and I just didn't know that public speaking was an actual profession. I wanted my name in lights and on billboards and to look stunning on the red carpet and have paparazzi chasing me down with cameras and things like that. But as I mentioned, I thought it was only for preachers and politicians. My first experiences on stage with public speaking, it was public speaking, but I didn't really know what that was. Those took place in church and at school. If you grew up in a Baptist church or you know anything about the Baptist church, we have our programs for Mother's Day, for Easter, for Christmas. We have plays, and sometimes the kids will recite poems. I did those things. Those were my first experiences with public speaking as a kid, doing a poem at church or singing in the youth choir at church or singing in the youth choir for elementary school. And also I did plays, I did talent shows. I was a cheerleader in middle school. In high school, I did the drama club, the poetry club. I was on a dance team. High school, the good old days. Anywho, after high school, I was introduced to spoken word poetry. Before, I was memorizing other people's poems and reciting them. But when I got to high school, I started writing my own poems. I wasn't really performing them too much, but I was writing them. And when I got a little bit older, a couple years out of high school, I started going to poetry lounges and open mics where people were doing their own original pieces live. And that really touched my soul. I didn't know then, but I know now that is a form of public speaking. And I loved it. I love being on the stage. I love sharing pieces of my soul and pieces of my heart. And I always got a great response from the crowd. And I was never afraid to get on stage. I was never shy. I never had stage fright. Like I mentioned, I love the feeling of being on stage and being the center of attention and having something that the crowd is going to enjoy, having a poem that is going to make somebody say, ooh, or ah, or whoa, or yes, that was nice. I loved it, loved it, loved it. I fell in love with spoken word. It was actually spoken word that opened up the doors for me for more stage time and longer speaking engagements. After high school and in my early adult years, in my early 20s, I moved to Los Angeles. And in Los Angeles, I was performing poetry all over. I went out there for a reason. I went out there to, that's when the dream started, actually, when I had the thought to move to LA to just pursue something bigger and larger stages. That's kind of where the dreams for me started to come in as a speaker. In LA, I was invited to perform a poem at the Walt Disney Concert Hall, which was major. I did a poem at the Silver Lining of Hope Crusades banquet. I performed at the Poetry Lounge, y'all. And when I was in LA, the Poetry Lounge was huge. And I performed at Jamie Foxx's venue. And what was the name of it? Was it called the Foxhole? I don't remember, but a lot of celebrities used to go there for comedians and for just musicians to show up. I remember one night I was there and Anthony Hamilton was on stage. And the night that I did my poem, Mark Curry was hosting. And guess who happened to be in the audience, y'all? John Legend. John freaking Legend was in the audience when I did my poem at Jamie Foxx's venue in LA. And that was just amazing. So I did a lot of poetry in LA. And then I started to get more into speaking. Because when I do poems, or when I did poems, it would be maybe 2 to 3 minutes. But anybody who has dreams of being a speaker, it's not enough. 2 minutes is not enough to get on stage and say what I want to say and say what I feel like I have to say. So the poetry opened up the doors for the public speaking, for those longer speeches. Also, when I was in LA, I was introduced to Toastmasters, of course. I joined my first Toastmasters club in Hawthorne, California, and that's when I really started to sharpen my speaking skills. I was very excited when I first joined Toastmasters. However, I had no idea about the professional side of speaking. I just knew I wanted to speak. I knew that I had a passion for it. I knew that I could get on stage and wow an audience. But what I learned in Toastmasters, was that you have to be on time. You have to eliminate those crutch words, which we talked about last week. You have to have organization and structure. A lot of us new speakers, when we speak, we tend to ramble because we have so many thoughts and we just want to express them all. And instead of taking the time to slow down and organize what we want to say and have main points, we tend to talk in circles. But Toastmasters taught me how to organize and structure my speech, how to get everything I wanted to say in a small amount of time, and to still entertain, educate, and persuade with my speaking. So I joined Toastmasters when I was in LA. My dreams of speaking started definitely in Los Angeles. I remember that I was living with 2 of my friends in West Hollywood, and when they would be at work, of course I wasn't working because I was pursuing my dreams, but when they were at work and I would just be in the apartment by myself, I would just be singing this song, and it's one of my favorite songs. It's called Closer by an artist named Goapele, and I just remember singing that song over and over and over because I knew that I was getting closer to my dreams. I had this feeling that one day, I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but one day I was going to be an internationally known motivational speaker. That was years ago. I had no idea I was going to compete in the World Championship of Public Speaking. I had no idea it was going to take me around the world. I had no idea at that point, but I had faith. have faith in myself and I have faith in my gift. And I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I knew it was. And I just remember singing that song so much and singing it so much sometimes to the point where I would be brought to tears because I felt this so strongly. And I just knew that I had a greater purpose for my life than where I was back then. My dreams of speaking, just they were solidified with every public speaking engagement that I got, whether it was a poem, whether it was to speak to some young people, whether it was to speak at some high schools or colleges. I remember speaking to some young people at I believe it was a middle school in Los Angeles, and I was speaking to them about how to dress at an interview, things like that. I just knew I had something. And every time I would speak, every time, and still to this day, someone will always come up to me and say, "You are so inspirational." Every time, "You are so inspirational." That was always the word. "You are so inspirational." And at that time, I was listening to a lot of Wayne Dyer. And shout out to Josh Trentini. He taught me all about Wayne Dyer. And Wayne Dyer, he was an inspirational speaker, motivational speaker as well, spiritual guru. He's no longer with us. However, his teachings will remain with us forever. And he talked about the word inspiration. And the way he broke it down was inspiration means to be in spirit. For me, to be in spirit, that means that you are so connected to something higher than yourself. And it's very purposeful and it moves people in a different way. Inspiration and motivation to me are very different. And for me to hear that I am inspiring people, that means I'm moving something on the inside of them in a positive way that makes them feel like they can do more. They feel like they want to do more, or that they're ready to do more. So to constantly be told that I am inspirational, I was inspirational, that just fueled my dreams even more. Also, I started to write mission statements for my life. And most of us do that now. And this was early 20s, years ago. I would write this mission statement and I would write it over and over and I would post it all over my apartment walls. And it went something like, "I am so happy and grateful now that I live in a warm climated city, now that I am an internationally known speaker." It wasn't champion at that time. The word champion was not in my mission statement, but it was, "I'm an internationally known speaker," and a couple of other things. Of course, New York Times bestseller. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. I know it's Amazon bestseller now, but those were things that were on my list before any of the things in 2018 happened. But it just speaks to my faith in myself and my faith in my gift. My dream was to live, because at the time I had moved back to Cleveland, Ohio from LA, or I was between LA and Cleveland is cold. Cleveland is cold. Cleveland is snowy, and I always wanted to live in a warm climated city. I didn't know it was going to be Houston at that time. It could have been somewhere in Florida. It could have been somewhere in California. It could have been somewhere in North Carolina or Virginia. I didn't know where it was going to be, but here we are. I am an internationally known speaker living in a warm climated city, living out my dreams as a speaker. I shared a little bit about my background. Let me say that over. I shared a little bit about my background with you all because I know that there are many of you out there who have dreams, and they don't necessarily have to be dreams of public speaking, but whatever your dreams are. And in this day and age, we consume too much social media, too much. And social media will have you thinking that you're behind. It will have you thinking that if you're 25 and you're not a millionaire and you're not accomplishing everything you want to accomplish in your life, that you're old. It'll have you thinking at 32 your life is over. At 42 your life is over. I'm here to tell you that is not the truth. I'm here to tell you that I'm here to tell you that the killer of joy, the killer of dreams, the killer of your inspiration is going to be comparison to others. Comparison to others is going to kill your joy every single time. If you are a person who may have been a late bloomer like me, I didn't graduate from college, undergrad, until I was well past 20. I didn't go back to school until I was 28, and I finished strong. But for some people, they would never go back to school at 28 because they feel like it's too old or they wouldn't fit in. So to all the dreamers out there, no matter what your dream is, I want you to breathe life back into it. I want you to hold on to it. I don't want you to throw it away. I wouldn't care if you were 65, 75, 85 years old watching this right now. If you still have a dream on the inside of you, that means there's something that is still there telling you that it's not too late. Or if you're someone who's maybe 15 watching this, or 25 or 35, it's not too soon. It's not too late, and it's not too soon. Stop comparing yourself to other people and letting that deter you from what you know you've been put on this planet for. Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming and keep having faith in your dream. It may not come when you want it to come. It may not happen when you want it to happen, but if you keep pushing towards it, I guarantee it's going to come to pass. It's going to come into fruition. It may not be the way you wanted it to or the way you expected it to, but it will. The thing about most dreams is they don't come true because we give up on them. We give up on them. We feel like it's not going to happen. We feel like it's not happening fast enough. And then we say, forget about it. But luckily for me, I didn't do that. There were times when I wanted to walk away from speaking. There are times when I said, I'm not going to focus on speaking. Story time. When I moved from Cleveland, Ohio to Houston, Texas in 2017, I got my teaching job. I was going to focus on being a school teacher for 5 years. That was my goal. I will never stop speaking. Speaking will always be a part of me. But at that point, I had just graduated from college. Finally, I had my kid and I wanted a better life. And I knew that I had to do something. So I wanted to teach. I wanted to teach for 5 whole years. I'm going to teach for 5 years and then I'll go back to the public speaking. That's what I wanted to. That was my plan. That was my thought process. That was my roadmap. Teach for 5 years and then pursue public speaking. I got my teaching job in July of 2018. I won the World Championship of Public Speaking unexpectedly in August of 2018. I just knew I was going to be teaching until 2023. But God, the universe, whatever you want to call something greater than you and I, said no. 2018 is the year where one of your dreams is going to come true. It takes some time for some of us, for most of us. Even the people who you think are overnight successes, even the people who you see on social media and they claim to be doing so well, and it really hurts if they're doing so well in a field that you are passionate about. It kind of hurts a little bit because it's like, why them and not me? But you have to run your own race. You have to take your time. Nobody else can walk your path. This is your path and it's going to play out the way it's supposed to play out. I know that if I would have won the World Championship of Public Speaking any other year, it wouldn't have been a great year for me. If I would have got it when I was too young, I wouldn't have appreciated it. If I would have got it when I was 5 years into teaching, I probably wouldn't have even competed because I would have been so invested in teaching. I'm saying all this to say it's not always a straight line. When you are accomplishing your dreams and your goals, and when you are working toward your goals and working towards your dreams and waiting for them to play out, it's not always going to be a straight line. I don't think there are many straight lines to success. Success does not look like, it's like, ooh, It's not a straight line for most of us because you have to go through different lessons to prepare you for the things that you're asking for. You have to go through certain lessons to prepare for the things that you're asking for so that when you get all these big, beautiful dreams you are asking for, you will be ready. You will be ready. It's kind of like training. Nobody says I'm going to run a marathon today and tomorrow they go run a marathon. You have to train yourself. You have to train your body. You have to discipline yourself. You have to build up your win. You have to understand what's coming along with this big goal and this big dream that you have. How do dreamers and speakers and dreamers of being speakers, how do we bring these dreams into reality? The first thing is you don't give up. You don't give up. You keep pushing. You keep pursuing. You may need to take a break every now and then because sometimes it gets discouraging. When you try and it seems like nothing is working out for you and you feel stagnant and you feel stuck, it's discouraging. It's very discouraging. So rest for a while, maybe take a break, take a breather, and then you get back in the race. Don't quit. Don't give up on your dreams. I love the saying, don't die with your music still inside of you. That is my challenge to you. Do not leave this earth and your dreams stayed in that mind that is no longer in existence. You got to get out those dreams. You got to get them out. They got to come out, but you have to be patient and don't give up. Number 2, you have to understand that it is not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy, but it is going to be worth it. Everything that you went through, everything that you experienced, all the heartbreaks, all the humiliation, all the letdowns, all the times you thought it was going to happen for you, but it didn't, it's just making you stronger. It's just making you stronger. So understand that it's not going to be easy. And number 3, you need to be around people who support your dreams. Be around people who support you. Be around people who encourage you. Be around other people who you can have certain conversations with, because you cannot share your dreams with everyone, especially if you have big dreams. If you say to someone right now, I'm going to be the world champion of public speaking, and they laugh at you in your face, I'm not saying disown that person. I'm saying that may not be a person that you share your dreams with. But as a dreamer, you need to have people in your corner that can dream right there with you, and y'all can bounce ideas off of each other and y'all can motivate each other. Sometimes you just need a conversation to remind you that you are great at whatever it is that you're pursuing. You are great at it. You are good at it. You've been doing this and you've been doing that, because sometimes we forget. Especially when we're comparing ourselves to what other people are doing, we'll forget the things that we've done and we'll consider them little things. Well, I only did this, or, well, I only did that. Small to you, big to the people who will never get to do what you've done. So get around people who support you. And finally, what would I say to myself? I would say to myself, when you get down and when you get discouraged, and you have nobody to talk to, you got to learn how to encourage yourself. Yes. So not only have other people around you that support you, but learn how to encourage yourself, because sometimes you're not going to have anybody to talk to. Sometimes people are busy. Sometimes they're going to say the wrong thing. Learn how to encourage yourself and how to talk yourself back in to your dreams, and how to big yourself up or hype yourself up. If you don't understand what that means, then Google it on Urban Dictionary. But understand how to hype yourself up and how to encourage yourself on those days where you feel down, or on those days where you feel like giving up. Go back and look at some of the things that you've done. Get reminders, put reminders up about the things that you want to accomplish and the things that you already have accomplished, because how soon we forget. You could have done something, so many things, so many amazing things, but we've been programmed to program ourselves. So we're so busy worried about what other people are doing that we tend to forget about the amazing things that we've already done. So learn how to encourage yourself. How do you get back to a place of joy and an emotional state of gratitude and an emotional state of happiness and peace when you don't feel that way? I wonder, do you have a system, or do you have a routine of getting yourself back to this homeostasis of happy or peaceful or balanced when you feel off balance? I encourage you to do that as someone who is a dreamer, because sometimes it's going to get rough, and sometimes you have to self-soothe and you have to self-regulate, and you can't lean on other people to understand your dreams or to say the right things. I encourage you to learn how to self-soothe and how to pick yourself back up and keep going in regards to your dreams. Dreamers, speakers who dream of speaking, don't give up. It's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. And I know it. I know it's going to happen for you just like it happened for me. And I'm still dreaming. I still have dreams that I want to come true and to come to life. And I know they will, because I've learned that I have to just be patient and be consistent. That's all. This podcast was once a dream. This podcast was once a dream for me. I dream of speaking. And here we are, 9 episodes in, y'all. 9 episodes in. I thank you so much for dreaming. I thank you so much for believing in yourself, for believing in me. I thank all the people who encourage me to keep dreaming, and I encourage you to do the same. We have now come to my favorite part of each podcast. What that mouth do? What that mouth do? Hey, what that mouth do? What that mouth do? As speakers, our most important tool is our voice. It's your money maker. It's your everything. And sometimes we take it for granted. Since we are not singers or voiceover artists, most speakers tend to neglect properly caring for the voice. Every week, we will discuss one new health tip to keep your mouth and voice healthy. What that mouth do? This week's What That Mouth Do tip comes from English Like a Native. She shows us how to perform vocal warm-ups. I am going to perform vocal warm-ups for you so that you have an example of what it sounds like. I am sitting up straight. My neck and throat are relaxed. My shoulders are relaxed. My belly is soft. And I am going to take a few deep breaths in and out to center myself. I am ready. If you don't want your sanity to be questioned, when you warm up your voice and do your voice warm-ups, I encourage you to be alone, get away from the public, or it can be something fun to do with your family, especially with the kiddos. It's so much fun to do these vocal warm-ups, but if you do them out in public, it's going to look and sound crazy. So I would do them maybe in the bathroom in your vehicle, depending on what your speaking situation is going to look like. The first vocal warm-up, we are going to stretch the face. So we will stretch the mouth and we will raise the eyebrows, and it's going to look like you're reacting to a surprise party. It's going to look like this. I know it looks crazy, but you're stretching the face. So let's do this a few times. So stretch and release. Stretch and release. If you're listening to this, you need to go watch the video because you can't listen to my face. It's on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube. Next, we are going to squeeze the face like we just sucked a tart lemon. Like, so if you ever licked the lemon before, that face you make is like, we're going to squeeze the face like that. Do that maybe 3 or 4 times. We're going to stretch and then we're going to squeeze. So stretching first and then squeeze. Stretch and squeeze. One more time. Stretch. Somebody's doing this with me right now. Thank you. And squeeze. I know it feels silly, but it's really going to help you warm up your face and your mouth, and it's good for you to do these things before you speak. It's showing appreciation to all the things that are needed to make you have a great speaking voice. Now, here comes the fun stuff. We're going to do some lip trills. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Lip trills. Imagine that you are conversing with a horse. You know the sound horses make. Okay, so you want to relax your lips. Just relax them, just relax your lips. And then blow air through them. It's going to sound like this. One more time. If that was difficult, or if you're having trouble with the lip trills, you can try placing your fingers on both sides of your lips and adding a little bit of pressure like this and then blowing. That's actually more difficult for me, but I can do them. But if it's difficult for you, just kind of hold your lips down a little bit and blow. It's more difficult for me. I can do it this way. Okay? And then repeat that 2 or 3 times. Now it's time to warm up the tongue. I call this one licking the choppers. Close your lips and roll your tongue in circles like you're cleaning your teeth. We'll go one way a couple of times and the other way a couple of times, like this. And warming up the tongue. Now go the other way. Excellent. Do that maybe 6 times each way. Next, I call this the blah. The blah. You're going to push the tip of the tongue on the bottom row of the teeth and push the tongue forward. It's kind of like if you swallowed a cup of disgusting medicine, like this. So you're just stretching the tongue. Stretch and relax. And relax. Blah. Blah. So that's how we can work out the tongue a little bit. And now we want to warm up the resonance in the chest. So we're going to lightly pat our chest and hum. So it's going to be like, and then you want to pat your ribs. So, pat the other side. Pat your lower back. And then we're going to change it to a ma. It's going to go from to ma. So it's going to say ma, 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 ma. So funny. Okay, we just have a few more. We're going to warm up the diaphragm now. The diaphragm, place your hand on the diaphragm, is right below your rib cage. And then we're going to make 10 short, sharp shushing sounds. That is a tongue twister within itself. Short, sharp shushing. Short, sharp shushing. And we are going to squeeze the last shh. We're going to squeeze and hold our belly muscles as tight as we can until we run out of air. So it's going to be like this. Shh, 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 shh. And relax. Next, we are going to articulate to warm up the voice. We're going to repeat the b, d, g, b, d, g sounds over and over. This is so funny. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through it, but I'm going to try. So we're going to say b, d, g over and over and over. So it's going to sound like this. B-digga, b-digga, b-digga. It works though. It works. I know it's funny. It's weird, but it's funny. So we're going to repeat this over and over. B-digga, 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 b. Now we're going to do PTK. So p-t-k, p-t-k. Putika, 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 putika. That one wasn't as funny as b-digga. And finally, we're going to do M-L-W. M-L-W. Mullawa, 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 mullawa. That feels funny. Mullawa, 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 mullawa. And finally, we're going to end with some tongue twisters. Everybody knows Peter Piper. Everybody knows Peter Piper. So we're going to practice articulation and warm up our voice and warm up our mouth with the Peter Piper tongue twister. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A pack of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the pack of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? You can say that a few times. This tongue twister I'm not very familiar with, so I might mess up. If I say a curse word, excuse me, it's not intentional. You'll see it when you try. This is called Susie sitting. Susie sitting in a shoe shine shop. All day long she sits and shines. All day long she shines and sits and shines and sits. Susie sitting in a shoe shine shop. Oh, good, I didn't say it because it's like when I was practicing before, I was like, all day long she shines and shits. But I did say it that time. And then finally, 3 free throws. 3 free throws. 3 free throws. 3 free throws. This might seem silly, but it is very important to warm up the voice every time before speaking because you protect the voice and you strengthen the voice and you show the voice love and you show that you care about all these different pieces and elements inside of your mouth and inside of your body that allow you to be a great speaker. That was this week's What That Mouth Do tip. Make sure you like this video, comment, and subscribe. Also, send me your What That Mouth Do tips for oral health and voice care. Make sure you follow me on IG at Ramona J. Smith 1. Visit my website, RamonaJSmith.com, and stay connected. Join our Speakers United group on Facebook, and make sure you subscribe right now if you haven't already. I would love to come speak to your organizations, to your clubs, to your groups, to your employees, to your team members. It is easy to find me. Email me, ispeak@RamonaJSmith.com for booking information. As always, it's been my pleasure sharing this time with you. And until next time, let me help you find your voice so you can dream bigger, shine brighter, and speak louder. I will see you next time on the I Dream of Speaking podcast. Thanks for watching.